science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public, everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
For newcomers and old-timers alike, the Chloe Sanctuary hopes to give you insight into the health and happiness of your companion parrots. We hope to help you build happy homes using reliable and proven tools. The best homes are built on a rock-solid foundation. And the best foundation for a happy home is the bedrock of science. When we stand on the shoulders of giants, the scientists who have worked long and diligently to understand our companions, we can reach new heights of understanding. And understanding is the key to success. What does avian veterinary medicine have to tell us about our feathered friends? How can we prevent illness, see the signs of disease before it's too late, and care for our birds through ill health? What light does behavioral science shed on their nature, needs, and hopes? How can the tools of behavior shaping make our homes happier for us and our companions? How can we deal with biting, screaming, or other misbehavior? What is it like to live among parrots? Let them roam around about you and share a life with them. How much freedom do you give them? What happens if you form a bond of trust with them? Watch and see what understanding their true nature can do for you. Come with us on a journey as we do more than examine a parrot's world. We live in it. Make some popcorn and bring in a few wood blocks. Let everyone have something to chew and a comfortable place to perch. Cockatude is a presentation of the Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.
Hi, and welcome to Cockatude 45. Not again. Yeah, not again. When behavior boomerangs and comes back.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Don with the Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos. And this is Coco and Babaloo and Cosma, called Cos for short. Peaches down here. Snowball up there. Hey, Snow. Salamander up on the big birch. That's his hangout, boy. He likes that, and the little rail in front of the TV where he watches his movies. And Sugarbird up on the perch. And her special perch. We're going to talk about the whole process of training and what ABA or applied behavior analysis is. But the first thing we're going to talk about is one of the things that you will find when you're working with birds is resurgence. It's called resurgence, and basically it's like boomerang when something comes back that was previously extinguished. And the reason we're talking about that today is because when Roman first came to us, he was afraid of his own shadow. He had been moved from one cage to another in a different place, and it set him off. And he just would get up in the corner of the cage and shake. And I let him take his time coming out of this. He was in one cage that they loaned us, and then we got him a big cage. It's a 4 by 3 by 6.5 foot cage, and he loves it. Got him into that cage, and it took some time, and it took a little bit of haloperidol, to calm him down because he was worrying his feathers. And in time, he straightened out and he lost the fear. He was always a little bit nervous of a bird, but his balance is really bad because he's missing some feathers. And obviously, I couldn't bring him in today because he's having issues. So, Oh, you guys are gonna preen, huh? I don't know if that's a good idea, cause Pog's not that fond of you, but maybe it'll work out. Leave Peaches alone. Cosma, be nice to Peaches. Be nice to her now. So, about a week ago, he started exhibiting some of this same behavior. He started getting more nervous, flying off of perches when something loud banged or if something changed in the environment. And now he won't let me handle him. Now, of course, I could force the issue, but that's not a good idea. What I'm doing is repeating the same process I did before. I'm leaving him alone most of the time. I talk to him gently and quietly, and I offer him his treats. He likes a little bit of peanut butter on the end of a craft stick, and I'm trying to get him to do his behavior, which is basically I say, "Who do you love?" and he is supposed to respond with "I love you." So he's doing that about 1 in 10 right now. You stay away from her. You stay away from her, okay? You can come down, but you have to get on this side. Come here. Come on, you can come down. But you have to get on this side. You can't be with her, okay? They don't get along that well together. Coco usually gets along with Cosmo, but not this big guy. You don't need to be over there to cause trouble. No, you don't. No, you don't, big boy. You're such a good bird. So, this is called resurgence. It happens in behavior all the time. If you train a behavior out, in this case, I extinguished the behavior of fear, where he would sit in the top of the cage and just slightly flap his wings a little bit and just shake. I got him over that. And you have to know that it is normal for a bird to slide back. You may see that you have helped a bird that was nervous or had behavioral problems and they went away. They may come back and you may try to blame yourself for it. You may do something like move too quickly and the bird will spook, as Roman was doing when he started to exhibit this behavior again. I don't think you want to go over there. You, what are you doing? Be nice to her. Cause, you okay? Why don't you sit up here? That's better. Why don't you sit there? So, don't take it to heart. Don't freak out. And of course, I do anyway, but I'm telling you that there's no reason to take this to heart. You may, who knows, you may drop something on your foot and make a loud yelp, and that may set a bird off that used to be afraid. Or you may approach a bird too. Hi, sweetie. That's a nice song. That's a good song. Oh, what a beautiful singer you are, Peaches. What a beautiful singer you are. Oh, that's a good song. That's a good song. Oh, one more chorus? Well, we're not too fond of that particular chorus. We like the other part. We like the other part. Yeah, we do. No, we're not going to go over there and mess with those ladies. You can be over here. There you go. So what you do is you just repeat whatever process it was you did before. If you had a bird that was lunging at you and you taught it not to do that, and then it starts lunging again, then you simply repeat the process. Now, you may have to vary it. There may be other things that you could do to improve the situation. You have to look at all the factors. Did something change in the environment? Did something change in your appearance? Did something change? Now, when I say change in your environment, I've told the story before, so I'm not going to go into huge detail, but it was this can of Rumford baking powder that just completely set Chloe off. So you may not see a change in your environment, but you may have done something. It could be something as simple as hanging up a different picture, or maybe you threw a gym towel somewhere and you haven't picked it up. It could be something that simple that's setting them off. Some birds are afraid of towels. Since many birds have been toweled in order to get them and put them in a cage or transport them to the vet, something like that, and they haven't been towel trained, seeing a towel could set them off. It's even possible that a bird who's been towel trained may revert to being afraid of towels. And again, in order to fix those situations, you just repeat the same techniques you used before to overcome them. Now, if you overcame these without using any behavioral modification techniques, you didn't use, hi sweetie, that's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song, Princess. Oh, yes it is. Look at that beautiful foot. Yeah, look at that beautiful foot. Maybe you didn't actually realize what you did. Maybe you brought a bird in, you rescued a bird, and over a few months you were able to get it over some humps, behavioral problems, but you don't quite know how you did it. Well, then you want to approach it in a structural way. You want to use reward training. Hey you. No looking at Peaches like you're gonna go after her, okay? Okay, Coco? Little Coco girl. Oh, hi Peach. Hi Peach. You need to not go after Cosmo too. I have we have a square of birds here. We have birds here that have issues together. Cosmo has attacked Snowball before, so Snowball he's targeting her. Coco, you need to leave her alone and not yell at her. Come here. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie. Come here. Oh, come here. Well, come here. Calm down. Calm down. It's all right. And then Bob and Cosmo had issues together. Coco and Snowball have had issues. So everybody's had some issue together, and I have to work through that while I'm talking. But so there's a process that we use in order to change behavior, and if you have a behavior that's come back, you just use the same process. So if you know what you did and you observed the process and you have it clear in your mind, then that's taken care of. You know what to do. You just repeat it. If, on the other hand, you're not familiar, we have a lot of videos that can help you through this. But what I want to do today is to run through the basic process. We're going to talk about what applied behavior analysis, don't let the big words, the big scientific sounding words get to you, okay? I mean, it's just a way of looking at behavior and changing it. And so don't be scared away by by Peach's voice or the big name. Right, Peach? What do you say? You say ah? You say ah? Really? You sure you don't want a stick? You want a stick? There's sticks over here. Yeah. There's other toys too. You want this? You want this, Peach? No, you don't. That's more of a Cecil toy. He wouldn't come in today. No, you're not going to go over there. No, we're not doing that. Come here. You're not going to get off the couch. No. Come here. You're not getting off the couch. Peaches. Hey, calm down. Calm down, sweetheart. Good boy, Bob. So we're going to do a general rundown of what it is and how you do it. We hope you will consider supporting us on Patreon today. This is how it works. We produce up to 2 videos a month. As a patron, you pledge to give us a donation, whatever you feel is right and meets your budget. Patreon gives us your gift monthly. You can easily set a limit on how much you donate a month. You can change the amount of your pledge at any time. Your gift will allow us to continue bringing you entertaining and informative videos Patreon.com/Chloe Sanctuary. We look forward to your participation in Cockatude. So first thing, we're talking about changing behavior. So what is behavior? It's anything an animal does under particular circumstances that can be observed, okay? So, I don't know if you heard it over him, so let's say that again. It's anything an animal does, hi Snowball, under certain circumstances that can be observed or measured, okay? So, for example, Snowball's he's been walking back and forth on the perch and vocalizing. Okay, so that's a behavior. Peaches is going to where she's not supposed to go and she knows it. Come over here, Peach. Come on. Step up. Step up. Come on. I'm going to sit over here now since you're trying to get off the couch. You're going to leave her alone. Thank you. And I'm going to put my legs up because that kind of helps get some birds into positions where they don't attack each other. Well, they don't really attack, but they defend territory. Okay, so behavior is something that we observe, right? Now we're looking for what is called overt behavior. That's something that can be seen or measured. So there's behavior we can't see, which is what's going on inside their heads. We don't count that. When I look at the overt behavior, a bird preening up here. Peaches, what are you doing? She says, I'm moving around. I'm playing with my foot. Now playing with, that's putting a label on it. She's got her foot up to her beak and she is beaking her foot. Okay? We try to see the actual behavior and not apply any labels to it. We don't say, oh, the bird's being happy. No, we don't know what's going on inside their mind. Actors look happy on the stage or in a movie. You swear those people are happy, but are they really happy? Probably not. In a movie, they're looking like that because that's their job. And we don't know what they're thinking, so we're looking for observable behavior. The first thing you got to learn to do is to watch them and to see what they're doing. And just look at what they're doing and don't apply a bunch of labels. Don't say happy or mad or you just want to look and not label it. So if a bird is moving around, they're moving back and forth, then the bird's moving back and forth. If the bird is turning away from you, the bird is turning away from you. You don't say, oh, the bird's afraid. Well, maybe they are, but you don't know that. They could be doing something else. So what is behavioral analysis? It is studying the function between behavior and the environment. So in other words, when the fire alarm goes off and people run out of a building, there's something that happens in the environment and it changes the behavior of all those people who run out of the movie theater because the fire alarm went off, right? So what we're studying is the relationship of things like the fire alarm that goes off to the behavior of running out of the building, or in this case, the function of what happens when you put a finger to Bob's face. Not much. He just kind of ignores it. It's basically just looking at behavior in an environment. How is the environment affecting the behavior? So what is applied behavior analysis? It is changing. What are you doing? What an eccentric performance. What an eccentric performance, Coco. Nice display though, girl. So what is applied behavior analysis? Hey, come here. You're starting that up. What are you doing? Okay, you're starting it up again. It is solving behavioral problems by changing the environment. Okay, so in her case, her vocalizing is not really a problem except when you have cameras up and you're trying to make a video. So one way I solve that is simply to cover her eyes, kind of like you would a racehorse. You cover her eyes, she doesn't see the cameras, and she stops screaming. Yoo-hoo, no, come here, you're not getting on the floor. You're not. What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? Really, what do you think you're doing? Peaches, calm down. Calm down, Peach, okay? Calm down. What are you doing? Huffing over there. No, you're not getting on the floor. You're not. All right, Peach, you're going on a perch. If I can do this without starting a major fight. You're over here. Oh, you had to go to the bathroom? That's part of it, huh, sweetheart? In this case, I solved one problem but created another. She's vocalizing. If she gets on the floor, she'll start knocking the camera and just generally tearing things up. Won't you, Peach? Won't you, Peaches? Yeah, she's fired up because normally she won't even try to climb down off that. Yeah, by putting her in a different spot for a while, she may calm down, she may not. But it's, again, I'm just changing the environment to alter the behavior. May calm her down. So there's a lot of ways we do that, but that's the basic idea. Okay. Our donation button is on our webpage at www.chloesanctuary.org. Just be sure to say, "For Bob," in the notes when you donate. Now, another thing about applied behavior analysis, or ABA, is that we use operant conditioning. You know, it goes back to Skinner and behaviorists like that. But the operator is somebody inside a car who's driving the car. That's the operator. We help them make better choices. Okay, the actual bird makes the choices themselves. We just offer changes in the environment so that they make those choices. And you'll find that when you help a bird to change its behavior and make a right choice, they get better at making choices, which is what you want, right? You want to empower them to make a choice. Operant conditioning means that you are training them to make choices, make positive choices in their own life, as opposed to, you know, in the old days we used to say, well, the dog, I give the dog the command, sit. I give the dog the command, shake. It's not a command. You present a cue, like the word sit, or roll over, or shake. Those are all cues. Those are not commands. Those are something in the environment that encourage the bird to do a behavior. And so you are providing a cue that gets them to do something. Now, there are some things that have to be there in order for this to work. Any animal, but we're talking about birds, so I'm just going to stick to birds. Remember that this applies to all animals. One thing is they have to be motivated. to be motivated means that they have to be engaged in the behavior that to get a certain consequence, okay? So let's say that if you have them on a perch and you're teaching them to step up, but they have no interest in the treat you're offering them, well, they're not going to do it because they're not motivated. They have no interest, okay? If you find a different treat that motivates them, or maybe they're just full so they're not motivated, or maybe there's distractions in the room that reduce their motivation. So you try to provide an environment where they can be motivated and whatever is necessary. In this case, usually it's food, but it could be something else. Some birds just like to be petted. Right, Bob? I know what you're doing and I don't want you to go over there, thank you. And bear with me today. I have a kind of a rough voice. We had fire. That we are close to a military base. They always like to do their maneuvers when it's hot and the wind is up so that there can be fires when they use real ammunition. Who knows why that's what they do, but it seems that's when they plan it, for whenever it's hot. And although there hasn't been much smoke in the building, there's been smoke outside, so my throat's not the best. I apologize for not having the best voice today. Right, Bob? What do you have to say? So motivation, that's important. If they're not motivated, then you have to find a way to get them motivated. And that may mean that you have to change the environment or the timing. Maybe you don't want to try to train them right after they eat, but they're not hungry. You may want to try when they're not so tired, possibly. If you try training them at the end of the day, maybe they're just a little tired and they don't want to pay attention. Or even in midday when they tend to take their naps. This can be a problem sometimes too. So now there's a thing we call setting events. These are just things in the environment that affect how often a bird will do a certain behavior. So for example, if you have a bird in a room and the bird knows how to step up, you just taught it and it's been doing it, and a dog comes in and starts barking, well, that's a setting event for your next attempt to get the bird to step up. And maybe that dog barking upsets the bird, and so because of that setting event, the dog barking, the bird's not doing the behavior. Or possibly you've taken the bird outside and it's gone out and played for a while in its harness, is active and plays and socializes outside, and you bring it in and it's not a little hungry from being outside playing, possibly, and you find that this is a good setting event to go right in and start training. Now other things can be that that can affect a bird can be the kinds of treats they get every day, the amount of time out they have playing. It can be the size of the cage they're in. A lot of these things are setting events for behavior. If you put a bird in a small, tiny cage, let's say they have Bob in a cage that's only a foot and a half by a foot and a half, and you have him in there for a while, that's a setting event that's going to make him upset, and his behaviors are not going to be normal because he's been so confined. Okay, they can be a lot of things that could be a setting event, but these things affect, and you have to be aware of them. Now there's something that used to be called an establishing operation. Now it's called a motivating operation. And a good example of a motivating operation is if you have a bird that's really nervous and running around, and you want to train it, but it's always busy, a bird that's constantly moving. If you say took that bird out and on a harness flew it around, these aviator harnesses have a 6-foot leash, so you could have the bird fly around and fly around. Well, that'll tire the bird out. And then when you bring it in to train, it's not going to be bouncing around so much. So a motivating operation, there's a lot of different things, but these are things that affect a bird so that it changes their behavior. So there are a lot of things you can do for motivating operations, like with Coco right now, petting her and just relaxing her. She would be much more inclined to be trained after being petted like this. It also calms her down, and she tends not to scream so much when the cameras are up. She's getting better. I'm working with her on it. You can see that over time, she's stopped screaming so much. Actually, it's her alarm call. It's not a scream, but she stopped doing that so much, and now she just presents herself to get her head petted. But this is a motivating operation. If you want to calm her down, this is one way to do it. So when she's calm like this, it's a good time to train. You can use a motivating operation to prepare for a training session. Right? Cool. You may have two birds that tend to fight over territory. So if you wear the more aggressive of the birds out in play, then the chance of that is a lot less. So these different things that happen in the environment, for example, loud sounds, or different people coming in the room, or a box being dropped on the floor, or leaving a towel somewhere, these all provide stimulus. What is a stimulus? A stimulus is something that happens in the environment that can affect or does affect a behavior. So I can do this, and it's a stimulus. Okay, that's a stimulus. It can affect behavior. The only one I saw actually affected was salamander, and what he did was look at me because I was waving my arm. He looked at me, so it did affect his behavior. He looked over this way. Everyone else seems to have ignored that stimulus. Now, if I were to shout loudly, I would get everyone in this room to pay attention to me, one way or another. I can't shout as loud as they can, but when I make a loud sound, they do pay attention, with exceptions. And stimuluses can be as simple as a can of Rumford baking powder being set somewhere. It could be a towel sitting somewhere. You come back from the gym and throw a towel down, and you don't think about it. And then you go, oh, I got to train Fred. So that you go over to take Fred out of the cage, and he won't come out. And this is odd. He always comes out, right? Well, he won't come out. And if you track back to see if there's any stimulus you left just sitting around, a towel in this case, and you, somewhere in the back of your mind, you may know that Fred doesn't like towels, and there's a towel sitting there. So in other cases, you just have to kind of look around and say, what's changed? And we don't see things change the way they do. Their eyes are much better than ours, and they're much more alert to their environment than we are. I think in the movie Shadowlands, Deborah Winger says to Anthony Hopkins, what do? You just walk around, with your eyes closed? Well, in many ways we do. Our vision's not terribly good, and we tend to do things out of habit. Just one habit, action after another, and we don't notice these changes. They notice them. So, yeah, I know, Bob. I know. You're a good boy. Bob's a good boy. Bob's a good boy. Yeah. Hey, cuz. Now, there's something, I'm going to give you these fancy terms, and you don't have to remember them. What's important is the concept behind the term, not so much the term, but, a special kind of stimulus they call a discriminative stimulus. And what that is a cue, basically. When a bird sees that you go like this, and you put that, you're going like this, and you say target, they know that sound plus this hand, they can see that if they come up and take the treat out of your hand, wherever it is, because you're doing like this to get them to move around, then that behavior is going to get a certain consequence. In other words, they're going to get a treat. It's a special kind of stimulus. That means that when that stimulus is there and they do a certain behavior, they're going to get a certain thing for it, a consequence for it. Most often that's a treat, but it can be other things. It can be petting. It can be being moved to a place they like. There are a lot of different kinds of consequences a bird may be looking for. For example, someone was telling me that every time their bird nips them, they put the bird back in the cage. And it seemed like it was happening more frequently. They were getting nipped more often. I said, well, did you ever consider that possibly being that when they nip you, they want to go back in their cage? So it's the easiest way to get back there? So basically, you think of a discriminative stimulus as a cue. You're cueing the bird to do something. Primary reinforcers don't have to be treats. They can be, if you're freezing, sudden warmth is a primary reinforcer. If you're hot, then cold air is also, cold is a primary reinforcer. But when we're working with these birds, in most cases, we're offering them a food reward. That reward is a primary reinforcer. It's something they naturally react to that can reinforce a behavior or strengthen a behavior you're trying to do, okay? Trying to get them to do. Right, Coco? In this case, petting her on the head is reinforcing the behavior of just sitting on my lap and being quiet. So in this case, social activity is a primary reinforcer, and it is reinforcing this behavior. We also have secondary reinforcers, and that is something that reinforces a behavior because it's been paired with something else that does it, usually paired with a primary reinforcer. So it's just a way of saying, if they like a treat, and when you hand them the treat, you say, good bird, okay, then that secondary reinforcer is good bird. Okay. You can use the words good bird to reinforce a behavior that you catch a bird doing. For example, we call this capturing a behavior, but if you've been trying to teach your bird to say hello, and you've been doing this for months and nothing's happened, and all of a sudden your bird says hello, you may not have a treat on you. So use the secondary reinforcer. Go, good bird, good bird, good bird. Just, and then I did that with Cecil. And so Cecil is now saying hello and Cecil. He actually says hello and Cecil. It's not common, but every time he does it, I make a point. Yes, Bob, I know you want to go down there and mess with her, but don't, please. Okay? Thank you. Changing the environment to change the behavior in this case. He's still going to look over there at her. Now there are certain prompts that you can use. We call them a prompt, but let's say that you have the perch out in a particular place. You have the room quiet and the bird is isolated from other things. There are a certain set of things out the bird's used to seeing while they're training. So you're providing a particulars in an environment to help with the training session. Those are prompts. Stimuli that help with the behavior. For example, if I'm training a bird, a prompt might be going like this, okay? Step up, step up. That's an additional thing that I'm adding. I'm not just saying step up. I'm adding this to the cue. The cue for step up is just step up and a hand, okay? But if I add this to it, that's a prompt. That's a prompt, okay? I'm adding another stimulus to try to get them to do it. Eventually you'll fade those out. We call that fading. Eventually you'll get rid of the extra prompts, okay? So you might be like, step up, step up. I might actually use my other hand to try to motion them to step up. We use these things to do behavior shaping. You're going to reinforce small steps of the behavior. So you're going to take, like for example, with a wave, you're going to teach them to lift their foot up a little bit, and a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. It may happen all at once. Keep that in mind. They may jump, but you're planning on just getting them to lift their foot up a little bit. Just take their weight off their foot. Then eventually get their foot up. Then get their foot a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, till they finally get it up here. And then you're going to teach them to bring it down and bring it up and bring it down and bring it up. These are the plans. You're going to go through these different stages until finally you have a wave. Okay? So these successive approximations, these little steps from one step to the next is what you're going to do. And that's what shaping is. You shape a behavior. With step up, you'll teach them to lean over and take the treat out of your hand. And then lean over and take the treat out of your hand. Then lean over and take the treat out of your hand until they can't quite reach it, so they have to put their foot up on your hand. Then they lean over and get the treat. And then slowly, eventually they can't reach it, so they get both feet on your hand. And that's what behavior shaping is. You can take and teach a behavior and chain another behavior to it. So you can teach a bird to raise its foot up, and then later on teach it to wave. Okay, so you could say shake and have them put their foot up, and then you put your finger and just have them shake. You can also use that same thing from here to start the wave. So basically you're going to be teaching them with shaping to do behaviors that each time become closer and closer to the final behavior you want. That's all it is. It works with every animal, not just birds, but that's what you're going to teach them. So, and once you've got the behavior, you can start fading out the other prompts. As I was showing you in that earlier example where I was bouncing my head to get them to step up, you can drop that and just put your hand up and say step up. With most of these birds here, if you put your hand up like this, they're going to step up on your hand. So this is not a normal way people put their hands up to a bird. But if you did that and you walked up to almost all these birds, to almost every one of the birds in our sanctuary, and you put your hand up like that, there's a good chance they're going to step right up. So their actual cue is this. I don't even have to say anything. If I go up and go like that, they're going to step up. But I still say step up generally. Once in a while I won't, but most of the time I do, because I want to be able to get them to step up for other people too, so when someone says step up, they'll do it. So they understand that. I don't have to teach everyone how to hold their hand. So this whole thing is a process we call learning, which is changing behavior through experience. So all these guys know about it. They understand how we do it. They understand what the whole process, and it's pretty easy for them because I am consistent in the way that I do it. No, Bob, please don't bother her now. Don't bother her now. It's okay. She flies, he's going to pay attention to it. So a couple of other things to know about learning is that these guys learn they have two different ways to learn. One is vicarious and the other is through modeling. So in modeling, they simply follow what you do and they do the same thing. Okay? With vicarious, they see what someone does and they go, I'm not doing that. Like, if you put your hand on a burner, I've mentioned that before, you put your hand on a burner and you scream and pull it off, if they realize that you hurt yourself, they probably aren't going to go anywhere near the burner. You gotta keep these guys away from burners anyway, but you get the point. So, because they learn by modeling, you can actually show them how to do something. Which is to say, if you had something that was complicated, like a box that had to be opened, it had a lock that opened a certain way, and you show them that this is how you open the lock, most of these guys will see what you did and they'll be able to duplicate it. If they want to, again, motivation. So you can show them how to do something. If there's some way to get the point across by showing them, they learn that way. And they can learn by just being shown how to do something. I showed this one how to use a spoon. I held a spoon, showed it to her, and after a while she was holding spoons until the point where she's holding a big old ladle and like there's nothing to it. Because there isn't anything to it, is there, girl? No, it's easy. You guys are kind of quiet tonight. You are. You guys are kind of quiet. What we do is we help them to learn by giving them new experiences. We teach them to be able to make choices which fit in the world that they're in and which make them happier birds and the people around them happier. We do this by offering them reinforcers for behavior that we would like to see that become positive consequences for those behaviors. So by offering them positive consequences for behaviors that we like to see, we help them to choose the right behaviors to fit them into the world they live in. And that's really all it is. the better you know how to do this, and the more you study it, the better their lives will be, and your lives living with them. And even those who say, well, my bird doesn't have any problems, time changes everything. Hi, Peach. Now, there's a good example. I put Peach over there when she was vocalizing, trying to get off the couch. She was getting into everything. And she fought it for a while, but now she's just calm and she knows she's going to get back over here and get to watch a movie with me, and she's okay. Snowball, you leave her alone now. Be a good boy, Snowball. Snowball, you be good. Good boy, Snowball. You don't need to go over there. Good boy, Snowball. Good boy. That's a good bird. That's a good bird. That's a good bird. That's a good boy. Now you saw, with that, I redirected him from going over to bother her. Yeah, Snowball. Snowball. Good boy. I did that by using two things. One, I told him what I didn't want by saying no. And two, I used a secondary reinforcer. He's had treats from me to do certain behaviors. Okay, and that was reinforced with good boy. So that secondary reinforcer mixed with telling him what I didn't want and what I did want. I know, Snowball, what a good bird. Now I'm continuing to reinforce his behavior. Snowball, what a good boy. That's a good bird. Hello. Hello, Peach. No matter what you teach your bird, though, remember resurgence. And think about Roman. Here's a bird that was happy, coming out, jumping into people's arms, getting up on their shoulder, coming up. Hi, Peach. Get more information on it. Peach, what are you doing? Well, come here. Well, come on. Hello. Peach? Peaches. For more information on applied behavior analysis, here's where you can go and check it out. Yeah. And Peach, do you want to tell the people goodbye today? Do you want to say goodbye to the people? Do you? Peaches! Say goodbye to the people. But you're just looking at cause. Bob, you want to say goodbye to the people? No, you don't? How about you, Kaz? You want to say goodbye? You guys. I don't know, Peach. I don't know, Peaches. The peachy girl. Peachy girl. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Say goodbye, Peach. We welcome your feedback on our videos. We look forward to your insights, tips, questions, stories, and pictures. You can email us at cockatude@chloesanctuary.org, reach us on Twitter @ChloeSanctuary, and join with us on our Facebook Chloe Sanctuary page.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.